Students from several communities in Massachusetts have been using some of their school vacation time to work for summer jobs and a better education. They're also continuing their campaign for juvenile justice reform. To tell us about this year's efforts is one of the student leaders, a youth organizer for I Have a Future, Jazmarie Ayala. Thank you very much for being with us, Jazmarie.
Thank you for having me.
Well, as a youth organizer, what exactly do you have to do?
Well, it's my first time in I Have a Future, and so we basically go to the State House, so we have legislative meetings with different representatives, and one of the representatives I've met with was Liz Malia and Liz Miranda. And basically we tell them what we want, and we need $15 million for full youth employment and for youth jobs. We also tell them our stories, like how we've been affected by these issues. We give them background information on what I Have a Future does, and we ask them if they could support the raise the age bill, and basically try to get them, like, build a relationship with them so they could be on our side and see what we young adults go through on a daily basis.
How are you affected?
Well, I come from a low-income family. And when I was 9 years old, I got taken from my mother because she has sickle cell. And so seeing my mom struggle and she couldn't have a job, I really couldn't eat for some time. She had to skip meals. I didn't really have nice clothes. There was times where the hot water would shut off and I couldn't take showers. And I'll go to school smelling, and I had gotten taken away from that because they looked at it as like my mom neglected me. But she really didn't. She was just really sick. And so as I got older, things just started getting more expensive, and it was hard for my mom to keep taking care of me. And so I had to change that and do something about it. And that's why I work with I Have a Future now, so I can help other young adults who are probably going through this right now or who might be affected by it when they get to my age.
How did you make the change? Because I imagine, if I were growing up with those kinds of setbacks, I mean, kids would be making fun of me. I'd be depressed. I mean, you're not like that. What happened?
Well, you just learn from it basically, and it just made me it made me a stronger person. So I used to get bullied and get picked on. People used to call me smelly, fat, but it's just it's life. There are gonna be people that's gonna talk about you, but I know that in my heart who I am as a person, and I know my worth, and I know that my mom tried her best to take care of me, and so I didn't let that affect me. It just made me become a better person and wanted me to help other young adults.
When you say there's a need for $15 million, it's a little more than last year, but at the same time, probably not enough money for every kid who needs a job, right?
Yes, it's really not enough money, but we're gonna get there. So we have to start slowly by slowly and hope for the best,
What was it like when you went up to the State House and you were talking to Liz Malia and Liz Miranda?
It was very surprising, I wouldn't think I would be in that predicament and in that situation. They was very understanding. They have stories that they told us and what they've been through, and they said we're gonna help support, or we're gonna try, because young adults are the future and y'all do matter. And just by them saying that, it made me feel like a great person and made me feel like I did something.
Well, one of the other things that youth leaders are asking for, and this is a little different this year, is more money for public schools to close the achievement gap and the gap between the inner city and the better communities in the suburbs. How does that affect you?
Well, it affects me because my education matters, and education is the key to success. And so we need as much support we have now, and we need to get more support basically, because I have something that's called an IEP, and I'm not getting enough support as I should be getting.
Now, this is the individualized learning plan, so you're supposed to be getting some extra help, right?
Yeah, and I really don't get as much help. So I struggle in reading because I'm very visual. So they'll just tell me something and they'll expect me to learn it. I can't understand certain things. And that's I'm getting every subject except for that subject, and they just want me to be this perfect student, and I'm not. And I feel like they basically exclude me from other people because I'm Latino, and I feel like they exclude my friends because they're Black, and it's not fair to us. And so that's how I'm impacted, because I should be able to get the learning I'm supposed to get on a daily basis, versus white people getting all this education and all the support and going to become something. Like I want to become something. I want to go into the Navy, and I want to go to a college I want to go to, and it's not fair to me.
This is Being in the News. We're talking with Jazmarie Ayala from I Have a Future. Jazmarie, you talk about being, cut off from other kids and maybe even downgraded. But yesterday you're in Boston Common. You're going up to the State House, and you have all these different kinds of kids from different backgrounds. How did that feel for you?
It made me happy, because we all came as an organization, as a coalition, and it was just like, oh, these young adults are here to support what they want, because we do matter. And so them coming to the rally and marching with us to the State House, it basically like made them more of who they are and who they want to be in life. They don't want to be low down people. They want to be something. And so them coming out, even if it wasn't the whole of Massachusetts, just that little amount, it matters, because we don't need the whole of Massachusetts to change the world or change the future. We just need 1.6 of that population. And so it just made me feel great inside.
Another thing you're concerned about is criminal justice reform. There are some young people who make some bad decisions later on. They want to get back on track. How would you like to help them?
Well, I want for the age to be raised to 20, because our brains aren't fully developed until we're 25. And so putting us into the system, the adult system at the age of 17, 18, 19, it isn't fair, because we aren't in that predicament where, like, we still are doing a little bad choices. And so we should be able to go back into the system, go back into the juvenile system, and then go into programs and change our lives, because most of the chances are that we won't go back into jail if we do like the programs. And so if we go into the adult system, we're just going to ruin our education and ruin getting a good job, and it isn't fair. And it's basically called recidivism. So yeah, that's why I want to change that, because Monday I'm going to be 17, and I might do like a petty crime, and then I might end up ruining my life. And I have plans, so it's not fair to like other young adults who are going through this.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Jazmarie Ayala from I Have a Future.